Hi, you guys. So, as people have been asking me, they're sort of amazed about the things that I've done and wanted me to explain a bit what I've done in life. Well, let's go back a few years, one or two, and really I sort of started out, going through school and that, and I started like being a typewriter, you know, engineer that I could fix typewriters and electric typewriters and things like that. And it was a very special course. It was only like 7 people that got in every year. I really fought, to get the good grades to be able to, be able to be admitted into the class. So when going through that, it sort of came on to working with electricity. So I was working as an electrician, with a higher power sort of electric stuff, and so I was doing that for a while. But I wasn't employed. I was sort of just like, the extra hand sort of thing. And then I went on to more like learning about electronics and things. And so I was living up in the north of Sweden, and at that time it was quite easy to get jobs, or turn it around and say it was really hard to find people to do the jobs. So someone called from Stockholm right up to the north of Sweden and wondered if I wanted to come and start working. So I came down to Stockholm and I was starting working fixing answering machines and telephones and things. And at that time the Swedish telephone company had the rights to everything, so you weren't really allowed to use any pirate telephones on the lines and things like that. And it was just changing, a lot. And then there's a lot of computer telephones in the way that they could program telephone numbers and things, so you just have to, quick dial. That was sort of a new thing then. And then the wireless telephone started coming out, and that was totally forbidden. And so I started fixing with those and helping people get those going. And get those going in a way that if you bought an American telephone that was a wireless one and wanted to have it in Sweden, the amount of numbers that when you push a 1, for example, it goes like 2, or if you push a 9, it goes like 1. And you have to turn all the numbers around for it to be right. So 9 turned out to be 0, and 0 turned out to be 1. Well, anyway, it was a lot of stuff like that to get them working. And I moved on from that. I got a bit fed up, sitting on my arse all day, just fixing these telephones and that. And there was loads of things. And then I sort of got a job as a mechanic. And I always liked mechanic stuff. I would always be fiddling around with stuff, like today. And so I started, working for Fiat, working as a car. Well, first it was a bus mechanic. I was working, rebuilding engines for the buses and doing the electronics on the buses. You can go on the tourist buses with the videos and all that sort of stuff. I fixed all that sort of stuff and interior stuff. And then I also fixed, crashed buses and things like that with all the glass fibre and all the fixing of that. And then I got fed up at that, and so I sort of went over to working with Fiat. So I was fixing Fiat engines and electronics on Fiat engines and so like that. So through all this time, I've been going to different educations and a whole lot of stuff, just to get the knowledge to be able to carry on. And then, the computer was coming. At that moment, everyone didn't have a computer at home. The mobile phones sort of just got released, and they were big like bricks sort of thing that you carried around, and we were amazed that they could work. You could walk down the street and talk on the telephone. It was sort of the thing then. But anyway, so we sort of started moving into people having computers. So I started fixing computers for people and doing different things like that. And then sort of I went to, education to be able to become a computer engineer, for networks and engineering. So I did that I was studying for a good 3-4 years about. And then on top of that, before I'd finished school, I already had a job. They were paying me a lot of money, and the guys that were at that place working, they were the top knobs of the because the business took care of networks for other businesses, like bigger, like insurance companies and banks and things like that, and the whole commune's computer system and things like that. So these guys that were employed there, they sort of got the boot when we came from school, because we knew everything. We had more knowledge than them and so on. So we lifted the company up. There's a few of us from the same class that came into the same business. So I was working for that, and then I was a consultant which they hired out, so that I built and designed the networks. And it was hot shot, things. They were rolling out the red carpet for me, and I was getting like weekend spa things. As like not a receipt, but a ticket sort of thing, that 2 people go for a weekend spa with everything paid for. I had a whole load like this. I never used any of them because I was working all the time, and when the weekends come, you just you're absolutely dead. And so I was doing that for a while, and then I sort of went into being a consultant for myself and started my own business. Well, all through this time, I did have a business of fixing electronics at home and things like that, but it was just sort of more hobby sort of stuff, But so I became a consultant, computer engineer, consultant, and I was working for the government. And I'm not a Swedish citizen, so that was a bit fantastic, because I got into all the secret stuff and whatever. And because, I took care of the network, so I knew all the ins and ends out of their servers and things like that, and I had, could reach everything. And then I carried on from that and started working for, a company that, they employed me as a consultant, and I flew from Stockholm to Denmark every week. So, Sunday evening off, back on Friday sort of thing. So just flying backwards and forwards and doing the job, and I was working like 12 hours every day, just servicing computers and networks and supporting people and everything you can think of under the sun. So I was doing that for quite a while. And then what happened after that? Yeah, I was working so much that I just sort of thought I need something else just to get away from it. And so there was these guys that I heard of. They needed people, that could fix ventilations and things. I didn't know anything about ventilations and things, but I'm a bit handy, so I can fix lots of stuff. It doesn't really matter what it is. And so, I thought, well, that's perfect. Working with ventilation, don't need to use your head for anything. You just go there, do that, whatever. But you see, I'm the sort of person that, I want to have papers saying that I can do it. So, when I was working with the cars, I got all the certificates for the cars. When I was working with the computers, I got all the certificates for that. Microsoft Professional and all these, whatever they're called. And it's the same thing with, when I came to the ventilation, they all had to be engineers, and, they were sort of like a bit snobby because they've got the high education. I said, well, I can do that. They said, oh no, it's really hard. You have to read a lot and you have to work for so many years and that. So I said, oh yeah. So I just went and took the test and I passed straight away. So it was no big problem. So I got all the certificates, the highest you can get when it comes to ventilations for houses and things like that. So I was working with that for actually 20 odd years, because I liked it. It was quite easy, and I was lazy, because I was fixing things, but it was their tools, it was their customers. I was sort of just like brought in, so I just sent them a bill each month for my time that I was working. So I didn't need to have very much equipment myself. It was just sort of like an easy job. So I carried on for 20 years. But all through this time, right from the beginning when I started with computers, when I went to the education at the university to study computer science, I wanted to make money online. So through all this time I was, fiddling around with things online. I was doing before that was, when I started, it was like before Facebook, before payments online. You couldn't pay any, so I started building web pages for businesses, and it's like, $500 for a simple private one and $1,000 for a business one, and I was doing things like that. And also which I should mention, when through my career when I was working with electronics and computers and things like that, I was like a teacher as well. So I was a coach for them. So I was coaching Reuters. They got a big office, and they were bringing in people from Finland and Norway and Denmark and Germany and wherever. There was loads of people, and they were coming to my courses, my trainings, and I was training them how to do HTML coding and things like that. And it was good fun. They were just really rolling out the red carpet. So anyway, back to the ventilation. So when I did that right up until the COVID came, and because I sort of checked ventilations in schools and old people's homes and things like that, the more complex buildings and so on, then the COVID came and we weren't allowed to go into those buildings. So all the jobs for the first year just disappeared. So I was at home. I thought, nice bit of a vacation, things like that. But then when 2 years started going, I thought, well, to hell with it. I don't want to work with ventilation anymore. I'm really sick of doing it, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, coming home at 6, 7 o'clock in the evening and falling asleep. And the weekends were just they just flew past. So anyway, back to the online part. So that was like 95. So I started doing sales letters that we copied and things like that and tried to sell stuff. And if I could sell anything, I had to send them an invoice in the snail mail, normal mail. And it was okay. We were making, but I didn't make very much money then. It was just a few bits and pieces. I mean, there was maybe 50 websites I was built in the beginning. But that was sort of just, yeah, so it was websites, and then sort of moving on, I did all the things you could think of under the sun. It was NLMs, and there was, all the Tupperware stuff, and well, it wasn't Tupperware, it was something else, but the same sort of stuff, anything that you can, things. Oh, I was into the Neutron things, and I don't want to name any businesses because they can get a bit upset. But anyway, so all the Neutrons and all the drinks and all the stuff like that, and losing weight and that sort of stuff and getting energy, everyone was happy and thought it was good. But it didn't really make any money because you were buying all these products and just had to have somewhere to stash all the stuff. And so that wasn't working very well. And then I tried all the get-rich-quick schemes, and then I seriously, like 2017, I started, seriously wanting to trade online. So I went into the trading in a serious sort of way. So I was really trading. I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't following any scheme except for a few ways of training that I knew of. You watch the charts, you can see the style of what it looks like anyway, and you can go in for a trade, and then when you've done your 1% trade, you should be happy with that trade, even though it could carry on going up and up and up, or if it went down and down and down, because it never goes straight down, it goes down and up and down and up and up. So in that way I could make money even when the market was going down. So when Bitcoin was falling before, I was making money all the time. So that was good right up until the time where you sort of maybe a little bit more, maybe a bit more money in and put like that. And so I was trading. And then in the end, I sort of put my foot in it and ruined it for myself because I was getting greedy, which is the biggest problem when it comes to trading. So really I sort of like, to hell with that. And I thought, well, belonging to a business where you have products like an affiliate, you're selling other people's products, that was a sort of the way to go, because I knew about that, and I've been building funnels all the time that I was on the internet. So I was building funnels like sales funnels where people opt in with their emails and join your email list and that, and then all the configuration of the sending of the emails and things like that. So I was quite good at that, and it was going quite well for a while. But I didn't have the real knowledge. There wasn't courses like there are today. courses to learn how to do marketing. You could follow some of the gurus, but they would never really tell you the key for anything. They would just keep it for themselves and get all these people hanging along. And I was reading and reading and doing all the things that they wanted. And then I looked back and I thought, well, it's gone a few years and nothing's happened. I'm just not making any money. And so, so a couple of years back, I just thought, well, to hell with all this internet stuff. It's just wasting time, and I'm not selling anything. And all these people that are online, they're probably just lying, putting up all their, made money the last couple of months, just starting new online. I thought, yeah, shit, I've been new online for many years, so. And that's also something you can look back on. A lot of these bigger marketers that are even good today, they didn't start 2-3 years ago, with their new business and that. If you look back on their history, they've been going for maybe 5 to 10 years, easy, because it wasn't easy before, and you can't just sort of wake up and make money today if no one's exactly showing you the step by step. And that's what I want to sort of offer to people today, because it's a different story now. I've got all the links down underneath this video that changed my life completely, with a blueprint that you can download for free. So it's a blueprint, it's the step-by-steps that I followed to build my business online. And today I don't even work anymore. I've stopped working completely. I know you think that I'm old and that I should have gone into pension, but I'm actually not a pensioner. So there's a few years left before I get my pension. And what else can I tell you? Yeah, I didn't forget. My name's Nigel Williamson, and I'm a father of 7 kids. And I've got 4 living at home, and they're getting up into be teenagers and costing a lot of money. So that's the reason why I do my business online. That's my big why, is have more time with my kids, which I do have today, and have more money to travel and do the things that I absolutely love doing, which is only halfway there yet. I'm not sort of absolutely in the ballpark, but I'm getting there. So this step-by-step blueprint tells you exactly how to build a business online. It's connected with a training. And now the training's not a sort of a mumbo jumbo sort of quick training that you can go through. This is a proper, real education. And it's classed like a university education, in a way that you even get certified as a marketer. So you know what you're talking about. And there's a multi-millionaire that is a coach that turns up every single day, giving you step-by-step things to carry on building your business, because this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not built overnight and you earn hundreds and hundreds of dollars like all the gurus out there online tell you. This is the truth. I'm telling you the truth. You're going to have to work at your business to be able to start making money. Some people are cleverer than others. I might be a bit thick, so it takes me a while to go through all the trainings and learn every single details. But connected together with the stuff that I've done online before gives me some sort of advantage when it comes to the techie stuff, because that takes me 2 seconds and it's done. It's not a big deal. Some people have that as their biggest hurdle to get started online. So that's okay. So we go through all the different things, and there's trainings on how to set up your YouTube, how to do this, how to do that, how to market online without being salesy, without being a scam sort of people, without sort of shouting out the amount of money you've earned, because that puts, even though people want it, it puts them down a bit, because they've got to really get that money. But it's not a race. Everybody has their own time to be able to start making money online. But if you've got the right steps to follow, there's no way that you're not going to, if you don't give up, there's no way that you're not going to succeed. Because it's a proven blueprint. It's not just someone that's, shoved together, a chat GPT and shoved it up on Canva and made a PDF of some sort document. It is a real proven step-by-step blueprint. And in the community, which is over 50,000 people, which supports everybody. So you don't need to talk to the coach or the creator of the business in the first place. You can talk to other people that are marketers just like you and get support straight away. And it's lifetime. So once you've joined, once you've bought your education, paid for the education, it's lifetime. There's 4 income streams that are done for you, so you don't have to build anything. You don't have to do anything. There's no of that techie stuff. And you've got 100% resale rights. So when you sell or anyone joins, not only do you get your money back, but you also get 100% of that paid straight into your account with no middle hands. Nothing. It's never been heard of before. It's the best thing that is out online. Absolutely. I can stand behind it. It's absolutely the life-changing things. And that's what I can say. The links down below here are life-changing. They change your life if you just follow the steps. On top of all of that, I've got my own community. So that I can be the one that you ask questions to, and I can help you with different things. And you can join my community for free. And not only that, I have coaching every week, a Q&A sort of thing that we talk to each other, and you bring up what faults you have, and I'll try and help you as much as I can. And then there's education there, there's free funnels, done for you systems, how to be an affiliate. There's so many different ways of making money online. And, we can build this together. And that's what I love about it, is that we can start helping each other change our lives completely. We don't want our 9 to 5 anymore. We want to, to hell with them. Build our own dreams. So now I've been talking so much mumbo jumbo that you've probably fallen asleep. But anyway, that was all the stuff that I've done in life. And in between there, I've done 100 more things. I forgot to tell you about I build houses completely from the ground, because I've been doing that for a long time. I build cars and engines and renovate cars, and it doesn't have to be any special sort, but I do Volkswagens and Volkswagen engines, and therefore I am dirty because I've just been fiddling around with an engine. And what else? Oh yeah, everything under the sun. When I feel like it, I do it. And that's why I think that I can be the one to help you, because I've always followed my dreams. I've always taken action on my dreams. I've never followed it. I haven't had a 9 to 5 for donkey's years. I don't even know what it's like to have a 9 to 5 in this day's society. Your boss says jump and you jump. And if a boss came up to me and says jump, I said, what did you say? I didn't hear you properly. It's just, I'm hopeless. Well, anyway, take care, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and it'll probably be more like promoting my free blueprint down there to give you the step-by-steps to changing your life and making money online. And that's all I really want to do. And if you've got any questions, please comment this video down below, and I'll get back to you. And, like and subscribe to my channel, because this is being turned now, because I was really on TikTok for a couple of almost 2 years, and I decided that TikTok is going down the hot place down there, so I don't do that anymore. So I'm going to be on YouTube every single day, a new video. So I hope you enjoyed my mumbo jumbo, and comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.